The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Hughes.
Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, what a pack of crocodile tears we just heard then. Hazelwood is closing for one reason. It's been driven out of town by the Labor Party, by the state Labor government that has tripled the royalties on coal. That's the input costs for Hazelwood, and they tripled the royalties. And the federal Labor Party by having a 50% renewable energy target. Of course Hazelwood is uncompetitive and can't continue under such situations. And I appreciate that this is going to cost jobs, but it's not only the jobs that it's going to cost at Hazelwood. I'd like to think the Labor Party to think the increased cost of electricity that we have seen because of Hazelwood, how many other jobs will that cost throughout the economy? You must have competitive electricity prices, competitive energy costs, otherwise you do not have an economy. You do not know or understand the damage that you are doing to our nation's prosperity, our nation's ability to create wealth by your misguided green policies. And that's what we've seen, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, it actually gets worse, Madam Deputy Speaker. Not only have these price increases, but the real question is I would like to know what is going to happen, Madam Deputy Speaker, to the reliability of supply. Now, I've heard the AEMO say that there's no problem, but I'd just like to have a quick look at the numbers. Now, we know that last year, Victoria's peak electricity demand was 9,523 megawatts. That was last year. So what will they need next year and the year after? I would suggest at a minimum Victoria needs to make sure they are safe from blackouts, an availability of 10,000 megawatts. So let's go through where that 10,000 could possibly come from. Before Hazelwood, they had 9,655 megawatts of fossil fuel generating capacity. Knock out the 1,600 megawatts for Hazelwood, and we come back to 8,000 megawatts from fossil fuels. So where is that extra 2,000 megawatts of electricity going to come from on a hot day in summer? Well, there's wind. Victoria has wind of 1,485 megawatts, but as we know, that is as useful as tits on a bull in a crisis, because when the wind doesn't blow, the power doesn't flow. Completely, utterly useless. We know the peak demand for electricity occurs often late in the evening at 6 p.m, and solar will do absolutely nothing to help there. Hydro, Victoria has 356. So where will the shortfall come from? The only possibility is hydro from Tasmania, relying on the extension cord across Bass Strait to stop Victoria from blacking out. And what about South Australia and New South Wales? Exactly right. A very good question. I hear the member over there, and I'm sure that he would be very concerned, because we know that South Australia relies on an extension cord, the interconnectors through to those brown coal power stations, to suck about 700 megawatts of electricity to keep the lights on in South Australia. What will happen now that Victoria will become a net import of electricity and South Australia go and flick the switch to Victoria and there's no power there? The lights will go out again. The lights will go out again. This is why we see the insanity of this renewable energy target, Madam Deputy Speaker. Because whatever we build in wind or solar, we have to back up 100% in fossil fuels. So the renewable energy target undermines all the business case of those fossil fuel generating capacity, the base load capacity that we need to keep the lights on. It drives them out, Madam Deputy Speaker. It makes them uncompetitive, because you need to run these things 24/7, and when you have to turn them on and off to let the wind come into the grid, let the wind coming out of the grid, they become inefficient to run, they become uneconomic to run. No one is going to invest in them, Madam Deputy Speaker, simply because of the REP. We are undermining the economic viability of our nation. We need to have a complete revision of where we're up to in any energy generation facilities in this nation. We cannot continue to keep building wind turbine after wind turbine and closing down our fossil fuel generating facilities, Madam Deputy Speaker, because it drives the price up, it drives people out of business, and it makes our nation uncompetitive. Madam Deputy Speaker, there's all in this economy we want to see as members of Parliament. So many things we want to spend our money on. So many things we want to invest on, from schools to aged care to education to hospitals, but we need to create wealth in this nation. And if we wipe out our coal-fired power stations, we wipe out the best
Order.
wealth
The
creation
member's time has
facilities that we
expired. I thank the member for Hughes.